College students secretly record my wife with another man, and I'm left speechless. One fateful evening, while cleaning out the garage, Andrew discovered an envelope tucked away in a box. Inside were a series of intimate messages exchanged between Karen and another man. The words were filled with affection and longing, starkly contrasting the cold reality of Andrew's own marriage. His heart sank as he read the messages, each line piercing through the trust he had placed in Karen. The betrayal was not just in the infidelity itself, but in the realization that the woman he loved had been living a double life, hiding her true feelings and actions from him. The emotional impact of this revelation was profound. Andrew felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion, and betrayal. He had built a life with Karen, shared dreams and aspirations, and now it all felt like a cruel joke. The trust that had once been the cornerstone of their relationship was shattered, leaving Andrew grappling with feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. He questioned everything. Was he not enough? Had he missed the signs? The pain of betrayal extended beyond Andrew. Their children, who had always seen their parents as a united front, were now caught in the crossfire of a crumbling marriage. Andrew worried about the impact this would have on their family dynamic, fearing that the innocence of his children would be tainted by the harsh realities of adult relationships. As Andrew navigated through this emotional turmoil, he found himself at a crossroads. He could either confront Karen and demand answers, or retreat into a shell of despair. The thought of confronting her filled him with dread, yet he knew he needed to understand the full extent of her betrayal. The conversations that followed were fraught with tension and heartache. Karen's explanations felt hollow, and Andrew struggled to reconcile the woman he loved with the person who had betrayed him. Each discussion peeled back layers of their relationship, revealing cracks that had long been hidden beneath the surface. This shocking revelation set the stage for a deeper exploration of trust and relationships. Andrew realized that trust is not merely a given. It must be nurtured and maintained. He began to reflect on the moments that had led to this point, questioning whether they had taken their relationship for granted. The journey ahead would not be easy. Andrew faced the daunting task of deciding whether to rebuild the trust that had been broken or to walk away from a marriage that no longer felt secure. In the aftermath of the revelation, Andrew sought support from friends and family, hoping to find clarity amidst the chaos. He learned that he was not alone in his struggles. Many had faced similar challenges in their relationships. This newfound understanding provided him with a sense of community and strength as he navigated the complexities of betrayal and forgiveness. Ultimately, Andrew's story is not just about infidelity. It is a poignant reminder of the fragility of trust and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of heartbreak. As he embarks on this journey of healing, Andrew must confront the difficult questions surrounding love, loyalty, and the possibility of rebuilding a life that has been irrevocably changed. Andrew Baker is a dedicated engineer living in the picturesque landscapes of North Carolina, where the rolling hills and vibrant greenery provide a serene backdrop to his life. With a degree in civil engineering, Andrew has spent over a decade working for a reputable firm, contributing to various infrastructure projects that have shaped his community. His profession not only reflects his technical skills, but also his commitment to improving the lives of those around him. Andrew takes pride in his work, often going above and beyond to ensure that every project meets the highest standards of quality and safety. His colleagues respect him for his expertise and reliability, often turning to him for guidance and support on complex tasks. Outside of his professional life, Andrew is a devoted family man. He has been married to his wife, Karen, for nearly 20 years, a partnership that has weathered the ups and downs of life. Together, they have raised two daughters, Claire and Denise, who are the light of Andrew's life. Claire, the elder at 16, is a bright and ambitious teenager with dreams of pursuing a career in medicine, while Denise, at 12, is a spirited and creative soul who loves painting and exploring the outdoors. Andrew has always made it a priority to be present for his daughters, attending their school events, coaching their sports teams, and encouraging them to pursue their passions. Family dinners are a cherished tradition in the Baker household, where laughter and conversation flow freely, creating a warm and nurturing environment. Andrew's personality is characterized by his straightforward nature. He is a man of few words, but speaks with sincerity and conviction. Friends and family appreciate his honesty, knowing they can rely on him for candid advice and support. Andrew believes in the importance of transparency in relationships, whether personal or professional. He values integrity and strives to lead by example, teaching his daughters the significance of being true to oneself and others. This straightforwardness, however, can sometimes be perceived as bluntness, as Andrew tends to avoid sugarcoating his opinions. He believes that honesty is the best policy, even when the truth may be difficult to hear. In addition to his honesty, Andrew is known for his strong work ethic. He approaches challenges with determination and resilience, qualities that have served him well in both his career and family life. Whether tackling a demanding engineering project or helping his daughters with their homework, Andrew is always willing to put in the effort required to achieve success. His commitment to hard work is matched only by his desire to instill these values in Claire and Denise, encouraging them to pursue their goals with the same tenacity he embodies. Despite his many strengths, Andrew is not without his vulnerabilities. He often struggles with the pressures of balancing work and family life, sometimes feeling overwhelmed by the demands placed on him. This internal conflict can lead to moments of self-doubt, particularly when he questions whether he is doing enough for his family or if he is living up to his own expectations. However, Andrew's love for Karen and their daughters serves as a guiding light, motivating him to push through the challenges and remain steadfast in his commitments. As a family, the Bakers enjoy spending time outdoors, often hiking the scenic trails of North Carolina or having picnics by the lake. These moments of connection are vital to Andrew, as they allow him to bond with his daughters and create lasting memories. He believes that nurturing these relationships is essential for their growth and happiness, and he is determined to be an active participant in their lives. In summary, Andrew Baker is a dedicated engineer and a loving husband and father, whose life in North Carolina is marked by his commitment to family and community. His long marriage to Karen and the joys of raising Claire and Denise define his existence, while his straightforward nature and strong values shape his interactions with others. As he navigates the complexities of life, Andrew remains grounded in his principles, striving to be the best version of himself for the sake of his family. The Baker family has built a fulfilling life in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina, a region renowned for its vibrant community, rich cultural offerings, and exceptional educational opportunities. Nestled between the cities of Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, the Research Triangle is home to some of the nation's top universities, including North Carolina State University, Duke University, and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This unique environment fosters a spirit of innovation and collaboration, making it an ideal place for families like the Bakers to thrive. The area is characterized by its diverse population, which brings together people from various backgrounds and cultures, creating a dynamic atmosphere that is both welcoming and stimulating. Andrew and Karen have always prioritized education for their daughters, Claire and Denise, and the Research Triangle has provided them with ample resources to support their academic pursuits. The local public schools are highly regarded, offering rigorous curricula and a wide range of extracurricular activities that encourage students to explore their interests. Claire, who has always excelled in her studies, has taken full advantage of these opportunities, participating in advanced placement courses and engaging in science fairs that have sparked her passion for medicine. Denise, on the other hand, has found her niche in the arts, showcasing her talent in various school productions and art exhibitions. The supportive educational environment has allowed both girls to flourish, nurturing their individual talents and aspirations. As Claire approaches her senior year of high school, the topic of college has become a significant focus for the family. With her sights set on pursuing a degree in medicine, Claire has begun researching potential colleges and universities that align with her career goals. She has received several scholarship offers, recognizing her academic achievements and dedication to community service. These scholarships not only alleviate the financial burden of college tuition, but also validate Claire's hard work and commitment to her education. Denise, too, is starting to think about her future, considering art schools that will allow her to hone her craft and explore her creative passions. The prospect of both daughters attending college has filled the Baker household with excitement, but it has also brought about a sense of bittersweet anticipation. For Andrew, the thought of Claire and Denise moving away for college evokes a complex mix of pride and apprehension. He is immensely proud of their accomplishments and the bright futures that lie ahead of them, yet he cannot shake the feeling of loss that accompanies the idea of them leaving home. Andrew has always been an active participant in his daughters' lives, from coaching their sports teams to helping them with school projects. The thought of their absence leaves him grappling with the reality that their family dynamic will inevitably change. He worries about how the distance might affect their relationships, fearing that the close-knit bond they have cultivated over the years could be strained by the physical separation. Moreover, Andrew reflects on the lessons he has imparted to Claire and Denise throughout their upbringing. He has always emphasized the importance of hard work, integrity, and resilience, values he hopes they will carry with them as they embark on this new chapter of their lives. While he is excited for them to experience independence and personal growth, he also feels a sense of responsibility to ensure they are prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Andrew often finds himself reminiscing about the family moments they have shared, from camping trips to family game nights, and he hopes that these memories will serve as a foundation for their future endeavors. As the college application process unfolds, Andrew and Karen strive to maintain open lines of communication with their daughters, encouraging them to share their thoughts and feelings about the transition. They want Claire and Denise to know that while they may be physically apart, their love and support will always be unwavering. The Bakers are determined to foster a sense of connection, even as their daughters take on new adventures in unfamiliar environments. In conclusion, the Baker family's life in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina has been enriched by the vibrant community and exceptional educational opportunities available to them. As Claire and Denise prepare for their college journeys, Andrew grapples with the emotions that accompany this significant milestone. While he is proud of their achievements and excited for their futures, he also faces the reality of change and the challenges of maintaining their close family bond. The journey ahead is filled with promise, and Andrew remains committed to supporting his daughters as they navigate this pivotal time in their lives. As Claire and Denise prepare to leave for college, Andrew and Karen Baker found themselves on the brink of a significant transition, the empty nest phase of their lives. For nearly 2 decades, their home had been filled with the laughter and energy of their daughters, but now, as they prepared to send them off to pursue their dreams, Andrew felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. He had always envisioned this time as an opportunity to rekindle his relationship with Karen, to rediscover the couple they had been before the responsibilities of parenthood took center stage. Andrew imagined romantic dinners, spontaneous weekend getaways, and quiet evenings spent together, enjoying each other's company without the distractions of daily life and parenting. He hoped that this new chapter would allow them to reconnect and strengthen their bond, reigniting the spark that had initially drawn them together. However, as the reality of the empty nest began to set in, Andrew noticed gradual changes in Karen's interests and priorities. With the girls off at college, Karen found herself with more free time than she had experienced in years. Initially, Andrew expected that they would spend this time together, but he soon realized that Karen was eager to explore her own passions and interests that had been sidelined during their busy years of raising children. She began to delve into activities she had long neglected, such as painting and gardening, and she expressed a desire to pursue her love for writing. Andrew admired her enthusiasm, but also felt a pang of loneliness as he watched her immerse herself in these new pursuits. One of the most significant changes in Karen's life was her involvement in local writing groups. She had always enjoyed writing, often jotting down thoughts and ideas in journals, but now she was ready to take it more seriously. Karen joined a few community writing workshops, where she found a supportive network of fellow writers who shared her passion. Andrew observed her excitement as she attended meetings, shared her work, and received feedback from others. He could see how much joy these interactions brought her, and he was genuinely happy for her newfound sense of purpose. However, he couldn't help but feel a sense of distance growing between them. While Karen was thriving in her writing endeavors, Andrew found himself grappling with feelings of being left behind, unsure of how to engage with her new interests. As Karen became more involved in her writing groups, Andrew noticed a shift in their dynamic. Conversations that once flowed easily between them began to feel strained. Karen would come home from her workshops buzzing with ideas and inspiration, eager to share her progress, but Andrew often struggled to relate to her experiences. He found himself feeling like an outsider in her world, which was increasingly filled with literary discussions and creative pursuits. While he wanted to support her, he felt a growing disconnect as their interests began to diverge. Andrew longed for the days when they would share common goals and activities, and he worried that their relationship was becoming more like that of roommates than partners. Despite these challenges, Andrew remained committed to rekindling their relationship. He began to take an interest in Karen's writing, asking her about her projects and encouraging her to share her work with him. He even offered to read some of her pieces, hoping that by engaging with her passion, he could bridge the gap that had formed between them. However, he often felt like he was fumbling in the dark, unsure of how to connect with her on this new level. Karen appreciated his efforts, but she was also deeply engrossed in her writing journey, which sometimes left Andrew feeling like a spectator in her life. As the months passed, Andrew began to realize that the transition to an empty nest was not just about the physical absence of their daughters. It was also about redefining their identities as a couple. He understood that this phase of life required both of them to adapt and grow, but he struggled to find common ground with Karen amidst her blossoming interests. Andrew's expectations of rekindling their relationship were met with the reality of navigating their individual paths, and he found himself yearning for a balance between supporting Karen's passions and nurturing their connection. In conclusion, the transition to an empty nest has brought both challenges and opportunities for Andrew and Karen Baker. While Andrew envisioned this time as a chance to reconnect, he has faced the reality of Karen's evolving interests and priorities. Her involvement in writing groups has sparked joy in her life, but it has also created a sense of distance between them. As they navigate this new chapter, Andrew remains hopeful that they can find a way to bridge the gap and rediscover the love and companionship that has always been the foundation of their marriage. The journey ahead may be uncertain, but Andrew is determined to embrace the changes and work towards a deeper understanding of each other in this new phase of their lives. Karen's writing group had become a significant part of her life, providing her with a creative outlet and a supportive community that she had longed for during the years of raising her daughters. The group met weekly at a cozy cafe in downtown Durham, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sound of laughter and the rustle of papers. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, filled with the energy of aspiring writers sharing their stories and experiences. For Karen, this group represented not just a chance to hone her craft, but also a space where she could express herself freely and connect with others who shared her passion for writing. The dynamics of the group were vibrant and diverse, with members ranging from seasoned writers to enthusiastic novices. Each session began with a round of sharing, where members would read excerpts from their work and offer constructive feedback. This collaborative environment fostered a sense of camaraderie, as everyone encouraged one another to push their creative boundaries. Karen found herself thriving in this setting, her confidence growing with each meeting as she received praise and constructive criticism from her peers. The group became a sanctuary for her, a place where she could escape the responsibilities of home and immerse herself in the world of storytelling. Among the key members of the writing group were Reggie, Betty, Bill, and Frank, each bringing their unique perspectives and experiences to the table. Reggie, a retired English teacher, was the unofficial leader of the group. His wealth of knowledge about literature and writing techniques made him an invaluable resource for the others. He often provided insightful critiques and encouraged members to explore different genres and styles. Betty, a lively woman in her 60s, had a penchant for writing memoirs. Her stories were filled with humor and heart, and she often shared anecdotes from her own life that resonated with the group. Bill, a quiet but thoughtful man, focused on poetry. His introspective nature and ability to capture emotions in verse inspired many of the group members to delve deeper into their own writing. Then there was Frank, a charismatic and confident writer who had a way of commanding attention whenever he spoke. He was known for his bold storytelling and often shared tales that were both captivating and provocative. While Karen appreciated Frank's creativity and passion for writing, Andrew couldn't help but feel a twinge of discomfort whenever he observed Frank's interactions with her. Frank had a tendency to lean in a little too close during discussions, his laughter a bit too loud, and his compliments a bit too effusive. Andrew noticed how Frank would often direct his attention toward Karen, praising her work with an intensity that made Andrew uneasy. It was as if Frank was trying to draw her into his orbit, and Andrew felt a protective instinct rise within him. As Karen became more involved with the group, Andrew found himself grappling with his feelings of jealousy and insecurity. He wanted to support her passion for writing, but he couldn't shake the discomfort that arose whenever Frank was around. Andrew's mind would race with thoughts of what might happen if Karen and Frank spent too much time together, and he worried that the bond they were forming through their shared love of writing could lead to something more. He tried to remind himself that Karen was committed to their marriage, but the nagging doubts lingered in the back of his mind. Despite his discomfort, Andrew made an effort to be supportive of Karen's involvement in the writing group. He encouraged her to share her work and even offered to attend a few sessions to show his support. However, each time he walked into the cafe and saw Frank animatedly discussing a piece of writing with Karen, Andrew felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He wanted to trust Karen completely, but the dynamic between her and Frank left him feeling vulnerable and exposed. As the weeks went by, Karen continued to flourish within the group, her writing evolving and her confidence soaring. She often came home excited to share the feedback she received and the new ideas she was exploring. While Andrew was proud of her accomplishments, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease about Frank's presence in her life. The writing group had become a source of joy for Karen, but for Andrew, it was a constant reminder of the changes taking place in their relationship and the challenges they faced in navigating this new chapter of their lives. In conclusion, Karen's writing group has played a pivotal role in her personal growth and creative expression. The dynamics of the group, with its supportive members like Reggie, Betty, Bill, and Frank, have provided her with a sense of belonging and inspiration. However, Andrew's discomfort with Frank's interactions with Karen has added a layer of complexity to this new chapter. As Karen continues to thrive in her writing pursuits, Andrew must confront his feelings of insecurity and jealousy, ultimately seeking a balance between supporting his wife's passions and addressing the challenges that arise in their relationship. As the weeks passed, Andrew Baker found himself increasingly troubled by a growing sense of unease regarding his wife, Karen. What had once been a comfortable and trusting relationship began to feel strained, and Andrew couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. It started with subtle changes in Karen's behavior, her late nights at writing group meetings, her newfound enthusiasm for her writing, and the way she seemed to guard her phone more closely than ever before. While Andrew wanted to be supportive of her passions, he couldn't help but feel a nagging suspicion creeping into his mind. One evening, while Andrew was in the kitchen preparing dinner, he overheard a conversation that sent his heart racing. Karen was in the living room, speaking animatedly on the phone. At first, he thought nothing of it, assuming she was chatting with one of her writing group friends. However, as he listened more closely, he began to catch snippets of the conversation that raised red flags. Karen's tone was light and flirtatious, and Andrew could hear her laughter ringing through the house. The way she spoke, playful and teasing, felt different from the way she usually communicated with friends. He strained to hear more, but the conversation quickly shifted to a more hushed tone, making it impossible for him to catch the details. That night, as Andrew lay in bed, he replayed the conversation in his mind. He tried to rationalize what he had heard, convincing himself that he was being paranoid. After all, Karen had always been a warm and friendly person, and it was entirely possible that she was simply enjoying a lighthearted chat with a friend. Yet, the laughter echoed in his mind, and he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it than met the eye. The internal conflict within him grew stronger. He wanted to trust Karen, but the seeds of doubt had been planted, and they were beginning to take root. Days turned into weeks, and Andrew's suspicions continued to fester. He found himself scrutinizing Karen's behavior more closely, looking for signs that might confirm his fears. He noticed how she would often receive texts late at night, her face lighting up with a smile that felt foreign to him. When he asked her about it, she would brush it off, claiming it was just a writing group member sharing ideas. Yet, the more she deflected, the more Andrew's mind raced with possibilities. He felt trapped in a cycle of suspicion and guilt, torn between wanting to believe in his wife and the growing evidence that suggested something was wrong. The pivotal moment came one fateful afternoon when Andrew returned home early from work. He had planned to surprise Karen with a special dinner, hoping to rekindle the warmth that had begun to fade between them. As he entered the house, he noticed it was unusually quiet. He called out for Karen, but there was no response. Curiosity piqued, he made his way to the living room, where he found her sitting on the couch, phone in hand, deep in conversation. Andrew's heart raced as he instinctively stepped closer, trying to catch snippets of the conversation. He could hear Karen's voice, but it was the words that sent a chill down his spine. "I can't wait to see you again," she said, her tone laced with excitement. "It feels so good to talk to you like this." Andrew's breath caught in his throat, and he felt as if the ground had shifted beneath him. The world around him faded away as he struggled to process what he was hearing. In that moment, everything changed. The trust he had placed in Karen began to crumble, replaced by a wave of betrayal that washed over him. He felt a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion, all swirling together in a tumultuous storm. How could she say those things? Who was she talking to? The questions raced through his mind, each one more painful than the last. He wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but he felt paralyzed by the weight of the moment. Andrew took a step back, retreating to the kitchen, where he leaned against the counter, trying to steady his breathing. He felt like a stranger in his own home, grappling with the reality that the woman he loved might not be the person he thought she was. The internal conflict that had been brewing for weeks reached a boiling point, and he knew he could no longer ignore the signs. The laughter, the late-night texts, and now this phone call. It all pointed to a truth he was terrified to confront. As he stood there, Andrew realized that he had a choice to make. He could either confront Karen and risk shattering their family, or he could bury his feelings and pretend everything was fine. But deep down, he knew that he could no longer live in a state of uncertainty. The trust that had once defined their relationship was hanging by a thread, and he had to decide whether to fight for it or let it slip away. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but Andrew was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Karen Baker's acceptance into the prestigious Illinois Writers' Workshop was a moment of triumph that filled her with exhilaration and hope. For years, she had nurtured her passion for writing, often relegating it to the background while focusing on her family and career. The workshop represented a significant opportunity for her to hone her craft, learn from accomplished writers, and immerse herself in an environment that celebrated creativity and storytelling. It was a dream come true, a chance to take her writing seriously and explore the depths of her talent in a way she had never been able to before. The thought of being surrounded by like-minded individuals, all striving to improve their skills and share their stories, ignited a fire within her that she had long thought extinguished. However, as Karen shared the news with Andrew, her excitement was met with a mix of emotions that he struggled to articulate. While he wanted to be supportive of her aspirations, the idea of her attending the workshop without him filled him with a sense of unease. Andrew had always been Karen's biggest cheerleader, encouraging her to pursue her dreams, but the prospect of her leaving for an extended period stirred a deep-seated anxiety within him. He couldn't shake the feeling that this opportunity would further distance them, especially given the growing suspicions he had about her fidelity. The thought of her being away, surrounded by other writers, including the charismatic Frank, only heightened his concerns. As Karen spoke animatedly about the workshop, detailing the curriculum, the renowned instructors, and the vibrant community she would be joining, Andrew felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He listened as she described the immersive experience, the workshops, and the readings that would take place in the picturesque setting of Illinois. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and Andrew couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy mixed with pride. He admired her ambition and the way she was finally stepping into her identity as a writer, but he also feared what this newfound independence might mean for their relationship. Andrew's internal conflict deepened as he grappled with his feelings. On one hand, he wanted to support Karen wholeheartedly, recognizing that this was a pivotal moment in her life. On the other hand, he couldn't shake the nagging doubts that had taken root in his mind. Would she find inspiration and connection with others that she had been missing at home? Would the distance allow her to explore new relationships, perhaps even with someone like Frank? The implications of her excitement weighed heavily on him, and he found himself torn between wanting to celebrate her success and fearing the potential consequences of her absence. As the days passed and Karen prepared for her departure, Andrew's concerns only intensified. He watched as she packed her bags, carefully selecting notebooks, pens, and her favorite books to bring along. Each item she placed in her suitcase felt like a reminder of the life they had built together, and the thought of her leaving felt like a fracture in their family unit. He wanted to voice his worries, to express the anxiety that gnawed at him, but he hesitated, fearing that his insecurities would cast a shadow over her moment of joy. Karen, oblivious to Andrew's internal turmoil, was consumed by her excitement. She spoke of the workshops she would attend, the feedback she would receive, and the connections she hoped to make with fellow writers. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Andrew found himself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. He wanted to be happy for her, to share in her joy, but the fear of losing her to this new world loomed large in his mind. The night before her departure, Andrew and Karen sat together in the living room, the air thick with unspoken words. Karen was animatedly discussing her plans, her voice filled with hope and anticipation. Andrew forced a smile, trying to match her energy, but inside, he felt a storm brewing. He wanted to tell her how much he would miss her, how he feared the distance would create a chasm between them, but the words caught in his throat. Instead, he nodded along, offering encouragement while battling the rising tide of doubt. As Karen prepared to leave, Andrew realized that this was not just a physical separation. It was a pivotal moment that would test the very foundation of their relationship. He understood that Karen's acceptance into the Illinois Writers' Workshop was a significant milestone in her journey as a writer, but he couldn't shake the feeling that it also marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one that could either strengthen their bond or unravel it entirely. The implications of her excitement weighed heavily on him, and as he watched her embrace this opportunity, he couldn't help but wonder what the future held for them both. Would they emerge from this experience more connected than ever, or would the distance and uncertainty drive them further apart? Only time would tell, but Andrew knew that the journey ahead would require both of them to confront their fears and redefine their relationship in ways they had never anticipated. The moment Andrew Baker realized Karen's betrayal was etched into his memory with a clarity that felt almost surreal. It was a typical Wednesday evening, the kind of night that had once been filled with laughter and shared stories over dinner. But as Andrew stood in the kitchen, preparing a simple meal, he felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. The tension that had been building for weeks reached a breaking point when he overheard a phone call that would shatter his world. Karen was in the living room, her voice rising and falling in a way that was both familiar and unsettling. Andrew had been trying to focus on chopping vegetables, but the sound of her laughter cut through the air, drawing his attention. He paused, his heart racing as he strained to hear the conversation. At first, it seemed innocuous enough, just casual chatter. But then, he caught a phrase that sent a chill down his spine. "I can't wait to see you again." Andrew's breath caught in his throat, and he felt the ground shift beneath him. He leaned against the counter, gripping the edge as he listened intently. Karen's tone was light and flirtatious, a stark contrast to the serious conversations they had shared in recent weeks. "It feels so good to talk to you like this," she continued, her voice laced with excitement. Each word pierced through Andrew's heart, confirming the fears that had been gnawing at him for far too long. In that moment, the reality of Karen's betrayal crashed over him like a tidal wave. The laughter, the late-night texts, the guarded phone calls, all of it suddenly made sense. Andrew felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief, and a profound sense of loss. He had trusted Karen implicitly, and now that trust lay in ruins at his feet. The man she was speaking to, the one who had captured her attention and affection, was a name he had heard whispered in the shadows of his mind: Frank. As the phone call continued, Andrew's mind raced. He felt as if he were watching a train wreck in slow motion, powerless to stop it. He wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but he felt paralyzed by the weight of the moment. Instead, he retreated to the kitchen, where he leaned against the counter, trying to steady his breathing. The world around him faded away as he grappled with the reality of what he had just overheard. Andrew's emotional turmoil was overwhelming. He felt betrayed not only by Karen, but also by the life they had built together. Memories of their early years flooded his mind, moments filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams. How had it come to this? He had always believed in the strength of their marriage, but now he was left questioning everything. The internal conflict raged within him. Should he confront Karen immediately, or should he wait until he had gathered his thoughts? As he stood there, Andrew realized that he had a decision to make. He could either confront Karen and risk tearing their family apart, or he could bury his feelings and pretend everything was fine. But deep down, he knew that he could no longer live in a state of uncertainty. The trust that had once defined their relationship was hanging by a thread, and he had to decide whether to fight for it or let it slip away. The impact of Karen's actions on their marriage was profound. Andrew felt as if the very foundation of their life together had been shaken. The love they had nurtured over the years now felt tainted by betrayal, and he couldn't help but wonder if they could ever return to the way things were. The thought of their daughters, Claire and Denise, navigating the fallout of their parents' broken marriage weighed heavily on him. He didn't want to hurt them, but he also couldn't ignore the reality of what was happening. As the phone call came to an end, Andrew felt a surge of determination. He knew he couldn't let this moment define him or their marriage. He had to confront Karen, to demand the truth and seek clarity. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was ready to face them head-on. He would not allow her betrayal to go unanswered, nor would he allow it to destroy the love they had built together. With a deep breath, Andrew steeled himself for the confrontation that lay ahead. He knew that the conversation would be difficult, but he also understood that it was necessary. The truth needed to be laid bare, and only then could they begin to navigate the tumultuous waters of their relationship. As he prepared to face Karen, Andrew felt a mix of fear and resolve. He was ready to fight for their marriage, but he also knew that the outcome would forever change the course of their lives. The moment had arrived, and there was no turning back. The atmosphere in the Baker household was thick with tension as Andrew prepared to confront Karen about the betrayal that had shattered his trust. He had spent the last few hours wrestling with his emotions, trying to find the right words to express the turmoil within him. As he paced the living room, he felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He knew this conversation would be pivotal, not just for their marriage but for the future of their family. When Karen finally returned home from her writing group, Andrew felt his heart race. She entered the house with a bright smile, completely unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface. As she set her bag down and began to talk about her day, Andrew took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to say. "Karen, can we talk?" he said, his voice steady but laced with an underlying tension. Her smile faltered slightly, and she looked at him with curiosity. "Sure, what's on your mind?" Andrew gestured for her to sit down, and as they settled onto the couch, he felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "I overheard a conversation you had on the phone the other day," he began, his heart pounding in his chest. "You were talking to Frank, and it sounded intimate." Karen's expression shifted instantly from curiosity to defensiveness. "What are you talking about, Andrew? That's ridiculous. Frank is just a friend from the writing group." Andrew pressed on, trying to keep his voice calm despite the rising tide of emotions. "It didn't sound like just a friend. You said things like, 'I can't wait to see you again.' That's not how you talk to a friend." Karen crossed her arms, her body language closing off. "You're misinterpreting everything. We were just having a friendly conversation. You know how passionate we all are about writing. You're reading too much into this." Andrew felt a surge of frustration. "I want to believe you, but it's hard when I hear you laughing and talking in a way that feels so different from how you talk to me. It feels like there's something more going on." Karen's defensiveness escalated. "You're being paranoid. Just because I'm excited about my writing doesn't mean I'm cheating on you. You should trust me." The words stung, and Andrew felt a mix of anger and hurt. "Trust? How can I trust you when I hear you speaking to another man like that? It feels like you're hiding something from me." Karen's eyes narrowed, and she shot back. "I'm not hiding anything. You're the one who's creating problems out of thin air. Maybe if you were more supportive of my writing, you wouldn't feel this way." Andrew's heart sank. He had hoped for an open dialogue, a chance to express his concerns and work through the issues together. Instead, he felt as if he were talking to a wall. The emotional distance between them seemed to widen with every word exchanged. As the confrontation escalated, Andrew's frustration morphed into despair. He had always believed in the strength of their marriage, but now he was faced with the reality that Karen was unwilling to acknowledge the hurt he felt. "I just want to understand what's happening between us," he said, his voice breaking. "I don't want to lose you, but I can't ignore what I've heard." Karen's expression softened for a moment, but she quickly masked it with anger. "You're being unreasonable, Andrew. I can't believe you would accuse me of something like this. You're making me feel like I can't even talk to my friends without you jumping to conclusions." The emotional fallout from their confrontation was palpable. Andrew felt a deep sense of loss, as if the very foundation of their relationship was crumbling beneath him. He had hoped that by confronting Karen, they could begin to rebuild the trust that had been shattered, but instead, he felt more isolated than ever. As the argument continued, Andrew realized that Karen's refusal to acknowledge his feelings was a significant barrier to their reconciliation. He had come to her seeking understanding and connection, but instead, he was met with defensiveness and denial. The realization hit him hard. If Karen was unwilling to confront the reality of her actions, their marriage was in deeper trouble than he had feared. After what felt like an eternity, the conversation reached a standstill. Andrew sat in silence, his heart heavy with disappointment. Karen, too, seemed to retreat into her own thoughts, the earlier warmth of their relationship replaced by a cold distance. In that moment, Andrew understood that the confrontation had not only exposed the cracks in their marriage, but had also highlighted the emotional chasm that had developed between them. The love they once shared felt fragile, and the path forward seemed uncertain. As they sat in silence, both grappling with their own feelings, Andrew knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. The confrontation had opened a door, but whether they would walk through it together remained to be seen. In the days following the confrontation with Karen, Andrew Baker found himself in a state of turmoil. The unresolved tension between them weighed heavily on his heart, and the doubts that had begun to creep into his mind now loomed large. Despite his efforts to communicate his concerns, Karen's defensive reactions left him feeling more isolated than ever. He needed clarity, a way to confront the uncertainty that had taken root in his life. It was this desperation for answers that led him to make a decision he never thought he would consider: hiring a private investigator. The rationale behind Andrew's choice was simple yet profound. He felt he could no longer rely solely on his instincts or the fragmented conversations he had overheard. The emotional stakes were too high, and the potential consequences of Karen's actions could irrevocably alter their family's future. Andrew believed that gathering concrete evidence would provide him with the clarity he needed to confront Karen again, this time armed with undeniable facts. He wanted to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and he hoped that having tangible evidence would help him navigate the difficult conversations that lay ahead. After conducting some research, Andrew found a reputable private investigator named Lisa, who specialized in infidelity cases. He met with her in a small cafe, where he shared his concerns and the details of his suspicions regarding Karen and Frank. Lisa listened attentively, taking notes and asking probing questions that forced Andrew to articulate his fears more clearly. He felt a mix of relief and anxiety as he explained the situation, knowing that he was taking a step toward uncovering the truth, but also fearing what that truth might reveal. Once they agreed on a plan, Lisa began her investigation. Andrew felt a sense of anticipation mixed with dread as he waited for her findings. Each day that passed felt like an eternity, and he found himself oscillating between hope and despair. He wanted to believe that Karen was innocent, that his fears were unfounded, but the nagging doubts continued to gnaw at him. Finally, after a week of waiting, Andrew received a call from Lisa. His heart raced as he answered, bracing himself for the news. "I have some information for you," she said, her tone professional yet empathetic. "I've been monitoring Karen's activities, and I think it's important we meet to discuss what I've found." Andrew agreed to meet her the following day, and as he hung up the phone, a wave of anxiety washed over him. He felt as if he were standing on the edge of a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. The truth could either bring him peace or shatter his world entirely. When they met, Lisa laid out her findings with precision. She had followed Karen for several days and documented her interactions with Frank. The evidence was damning. Karen and Frank had been meeting regularly, often at secluded locations, and their interactions were more than just friendly. Lisa had captured photographs of them together, laughing and sharing intimate moments that Andrew had once believed were reserved for him alone. The images were a gut punch, each one a stark reminder of the betrayal he had feared. As Andrew absorbed the information, a whirlwind of emotions surged within him. Anger coursed through his veins, mingling with heartbreak and disbelief. He had hoped for clarity, but instead, he was confronted with a reality that felt unbearable. The evidence was irrefutable, and the weight of it pressed down on him like a heavy shroud. He felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under him, leaving him suspended in a void of despair. The emotional impact of the evidence was profound. Andrew's mind raced with memories of their life together. The laughter, the shared dreams, the moments of intimacy that now felt tainted by betrayal. He had always believed in the sanctity of their marriage, and now that belief lay in ruins. The images of Karen and Frank together replayed in his mind, each one a reminder of the love he thought they had built. In the days that followed, Andrew grappled with the implications of what he had learned. He felt a deep sense of loss, not just for the relationship he had cherished but for the future he had envisioned for their family. The thought of confronting Karen again, this time armed with undeniable proof of her infidelity, filled him with dread. He knew that the conversation would be fraught with pain, but he also understood that he could no longer live in a state of uncertainty. Ultimately, Andrew's decision to hire a private investigator had provided him with the clarity he sought, but it had come at a steep emotional cost. The evidence had shattered his illusions and forced him to confront the reality of his marriage. As he prepared for the inevitable confrontation with Karen, he felt a mix of resolve and sorrow. He was determined to seek the truth, but he also knew that the path ahead would be filled with heartache and difficult choices. The journey toward healing had begun, but it would require him to confront the deepest wounds of betrayal and loss. Andrew Baker's emotional journey toward the decision to leave Karen was a tumultuous one, marked by a profound sense of betrayal and a longing for renewal. After the painful confrontation where he confronted Karen with the evidence of her infidelity, Andrew felt as if a heavy weight had been lifted, yet it was quickly replaced by a different burden, the realization that their marriage was irreparably broken. The love and trust he had once held for Karen had been shattered, and he found himself grappling with feelings of anger, sadness, and a deep sense of loss. In the weeks that followed, Andrew spent countless hours reflecting on his life and the future he wanted for himself. He realized that staying in a relationship built on deceit would only lead to further heartache. The emotional turmoil he had endured was exhausting, and he began to envision a life free from the pain that had become a constant companion. The thought of starting anew, of reclaiming his identity and finding happiness outside the confines of his marriage, began to take root in his mind. As he contemplated his decision, Andrew felt a mix of liberation and fear. The idea of leaving Karen and their home was daunting, yet it also sparked a flicker of hope within him. He imagined a life where he could rediscover himself, pursue his passions, and perhaps even find love again. However, the uncertainty of what lay ahead loomed large. Would he be able to navigate the challenges of single parenthood? How would his daughters react to the news of their parents' separation? These questions weighed heavily on his heart, but he knew that he had to prioritize his own well-being. Once Andrew made the decision to leave, the logistics of his move began to take shape. He started by researching apartments in the area, looking for a place that would be both affordable and suitable for him and the girls when they visited. He wanted to create a welcoming environment, one that would feel like a safe haven for them amidst the upheaval. Andrew also began to gather important documents, consulting with a divorce attorney to understand the legal implications of his decision. The process felt overwhelming at times, but he was determined to approach it with clarity and purpose. As he prepared for the divorce, Andrew found himself reflecting on the life he had built with Karen. He packed up their shared belongings, each item a reminder of the memories they had created together. The act of sorting through their life felt cathartic, allowing him to confront the past while simultaneously making space for a new beginning. He took care to set aside items that held sentimental value for his daughters, wanting to ensure that they would have a sense of continuity amidst the changes. Despite the logistical challenges, Andrew felt a growing sense of liberation as he moved closer to his goal of starting anew. He envisioned a life where he could prioritize his own happiness and well-being, free from the shadows of betrayal. The thought of reclaiming his identity, of rediscovering the passions he had set aside for the sake of his marriage, filled him with a renewed sense of purpose. He began to explore hobbies he had long neglected, such as hiking and writing, and he found solace in reconnecting with friends who had supported him throughout this journey. However, the uncertainty of the future still loomed large. Andrew grappled with the fear of the unknown, wondering how he would navigate the complexities of single parenthood and the emotional fallout of the divorce. He worried about how his daughters would cope with the changes, and he felt a deep sense of responsibility to ensure that they felt loved and supported throughout the process. The thought of breaking the news to Claire and Denise filled him with dread, but he knew that honesty was essential. As the moving day approached, Andrew felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. He was ready to embrace this new chapter in his life, but the emotional weight of leaving behind the life he had known was not lost on him. He took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought him to this point, acknowledging the pain and heartache that had ultimately led him to seek a fresh start. In the end, Andrew's decision to leave Karen was not just about escaping a broken marriage. It was about reclaiming his life and finding a path toward healing and happiness. The road ahead would undoubtedly be challenging, filled with moments of uncertainty and self-discovery, but he felt a sense of determination to forge a new identity for himself. As he packed the last of his belongings and prepared to step into the unknown, Andrew embraced the possibility of a brighter future, one where he could finally be true to himself and create a life filled with hope and renewal. Andrew Baker's new life in Portland, Maine, marked a significant turning point in his journey toward healing and self-discovery. After leaving behind the emotional turmoil of his marriage, he embraced the opportunity to start fresh in a vibrant city known for its stunning coastal views and rich cultural scene. The transition was not without its challenges, but Andrew was determined to carve out a life that reflected his newfound independence and aspirations. Adjusting to living alone was a profound shift for Andrew. After years of sharing a home with Karen and their daughters, the silence of his new apartment felt both liberating and daunting. Initially, he struggled with feelings of loneliness, especially during the evenings when he would sit in the quiet of his living room, reflecting on the life he had left behind. However, he quickly learned to appreciate the solitude as a time for introspection and growth. He filled his space with items that brought him joy, books, photographs of his daughters, and artwork that inspired him. This personal touch transformed the apartment into a sanctuary where he could begin to heal. Andrew also secured a new job at a local engineering firm, which provided him with a sense of purpose and stability. The work environment was collaborative and supportive, a stark contrast to the pressures he had felt in his previous position. He found himself thriving in this new role, where his skills were valued and his contributions were recognized. The challenges of his job reignited his passion for engineering, and he relished the opportunity to work on projects that positively impacted the community. This newfound professional fulfillment played a crucial role in his emotional recovery, allowing him to focus on his career while rebuilding his sense of self-worth. One of the most rewarding aspects of Andrew's new life was the positive relationships he built with his daughters, Claire and Denise. Despite the physical distance between them, Andrew made it a priority to maintain a strong connection. He scheduled regular video calls, where they would share updates about their lives, discuss their interests, and even play games together. Andrew was determined to be an active presence in their lives, and he encouraged them to visit him in Portland whenever they could. During their visits, Andrew introduced Claire and Denise to the beauty of Maine. They explored the picturesque coastline, hiked through lush forests, and visited local art galleries. These shared experiences helped strengthen their bond, allowing them to create new memories together as a family. Andrew was grateful for the opportunity to be a supportive father, and he cherished the moments when he could see his daughters flourish in their own pursuits. Claire continued to excel in her studies, while Denise's artistic talents blossomed, and Andrew felt immense pride in their accomplishments. In addition to nurturing his relationships with his daughters, Andrew also took the time to explore new hobbies and social activities that enriched his life in Portland. He had always enjoyed the outdoors, so he joined a local hiking group that met on weekends. This not only allowed him to stay active, but also provided an avenue to meet new people who shared his interests. The camaraderie he found within the group was refreshing, and he quickly formed friendships with fellow outdoor enthusiasts. Andrew also discovered a passion for cooking, something he had never fully explored while married. He began experimenting with new recipes, often inspired by the fresh seafood and local produce available in Portland. Cooking became a therapeutic outlet for him, a way to express creativity and nourish himself. He even hosted small dinner gatherings with friends he had made through the hiking group, sharing meals and laughter in the comfort of his home. As he settled into his new life, Andrew also took advantage of Portland's vibrant arts scene. He attended local theater productions, art exhibits, and music festivals, immersing himself in the cultural richness of the city. These experiences not only provided entertainment, but also helped him connect with the community around him. Andrew found joy in discovering new interests and passions, and he felt a sense of belonging that had been absent for so long. Through it all, Andrew's journey in Portland was one of resilience and renewal. He had faced the pain of betrayal and loss, but he emerged stronger and more self-aware. The adjustment to living alone, the positive relationships he built with his daughters, and the exploration of new hobbies and social activities all contributed to a life that felt vibrant and fulfilling. As he looked out over the harbor, watching the boats sail by, Andrew felt a sense of hope for the future. He was no longer defined by his past. Instead, he was embracing the possibilities that lay ahead, ready to write the next chapter of his life with courage and optimism. Andrew Baker's journey through the tumultuous landscape of trust, betrayal, and personal growth serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities inherent in relationships. His experience, marked by the painful unraveling of his marriage to Karen, has imparted valuable lessons that resonate far beyond his individual story. As he navigated the emotional fallout of betrayal, Andrew learned that trust is not merely a foundation for relationships. It is a delicate thread that must be nurtured and protected. One of the most significant lessons Andrew learned was the importance of open communication and fostering trust. In the early days of his marriage, he and Karen had shared their thoughts and feelings freely, creating a bond that felt unbreakable. However, as life became busier and responsibilities mounted, that communication began to wane. Andrew realized that he had taken their connection for granted, allowing misunderstandings and unspoken grievances to fester. The betrayal he ultimately faced was a stark reminder that trust requires ongoing effort and vulnerability. It is not enough to assume that love alone will sustain a relationship. Partners must actively engage with one another, sharing their fears, desires, and concerns. Andrew's experience also highlighted the devastating impact of betrayal on both individuals and families. The emotional fallout from Karen's infidelity was profound, leaving Andrew grappling with feelings of anger, sadness, and confusion. He learned that betrayal can fracture not only the trust between partners, but also the very fabric of a family. The ripple effects of such actions extend far beyond the individuals involved, affecting children and loved ones who are left to navigate the aftermath. This realization deepened Andrew's understanding of the responsibility that comes with love and commitment. He recognized that every action has consequences, and the choices made in moments of weakness can lead to lasting damage. Yet, amidst the pain of betrayal, Andrew also discovered the power of personal growth. His journey toward healing was not linear. It was filled with moments of doubt and reflection. However, through the process of rebuilding his life in Portland, he learned to embrace change and seek out new opportunities for growth. Andrew found strength in vulnerability, allowing himself to feel the full spectrum of emotions rather than suppressing them. This willingness to confront his feelings ultimately led him to a place of empowerment, where he could redefine his identity and pursue a life that aligned with his values and aspirations. As viewers reflect on Andrew's story, it is essential to consider the themes of trust, betrayal, and personal growth within their own relationships. Trust is a cornerstone of any meaningful connection, and it is vital to recognize the ways in which it can be nurtured or eroded. Are there areas in your relationships where communication could be improved? Are there unspoken grievances that need to be addressed? Taking the time to engage in honest conversations can help strengthen the bonds you share with loved ones and prevent misunderstandings from taking root. Moreover, it is crucial to acknowledge the impact of betrayal, whether it be through infidelity, dishonesty, or broken promises. Betrayal can leave deep emotional scars, but it can also serve as a catalyst for growth and change. If you have experienced betrayal in your own life, consider how it has shaped your understanding of trust and commitment. What lessons have you learned from the experience? How can you use those lessons to foster healthier relationships moving forward? Finally, personal growth is a journey that requires introspection and courage. Andrew's decision to leave his past behind and embrace a new life in Portland exemplifies the power of resilience. Each of us has the capacity to grow and evolve, even in the face of adversity. Reflect on your own journey. What challenges have you faced, and how have they contributed to your growth? Embracing change and seeking out new experiences can lead to profound transformations, allowing you to cultivate a life that is authentic and fulfilling. In conclusion, Andrew Baker's experience serves as a powerful reminder of the intricate dance between trust, betrayal, and personal growth. The lessons he learned along the way are universal, encouraging us all to reflect on our relationships and the choices we make. By prioritizing open communication, acknowledging the impact of betrayal, and embracing personal growth, we can foster deeper connections and create a more resilient foundation for our relationships. As we navigate the complexities of love and commitment, let us remember that trust is a precious gift, one that must be cherished and nurtured in order to thrive. Andrew Baker's journey through the trials of trust, betrayal, and personal growth offers profound insights that resonate with anyone navigating the complexities of relationships. As we reflect on the key takeaways from his story, it becomes clear that the foundation of any successful marriage lies in the unwavering importance of trust and communication. These elements are not merely buzzwords. They are the lifeblood of a healthy partnership, essential for fostering intimacy and understanding. Throughout Andrew's experience, we see how the gradual erosion of trust can lead to devastating consequences. Initially, Andrew and Karen shared a strong bond, built on love and mutual respect. However, as life's demands increased, their communication faltered. This breakdown allowed misunderstandings to fester, ultimately culminating in betrayal. Andrew's story serves as a poignant reminder that trust must be actively maintained through open dialogue and vulnerability. Couples should prioritize regular check-ins, where they can discuss their feelings, concerns, and aspirations. By doing so, they can create a safe space for honest conversations, preventing the seeds of doubt from taking root. Moreover, Andrew's journey underscores the necessity of addressing issues before they escalate. The moments of silence and avoidance that characterized his relationship with Karen contributed to the emotional distance that ultimately led to infidelity. It is crucial for couples to recognize the importance of confronting challenges head-on, rather than allowing them to linger in the shadows. By fostering an environment where both partners feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and emotions, couples can strengthen their connection and navigate difficulties together. As viewers reflect on Andrew's story, it is essential to consider their own relationship dynamics. Are there areas where communication could be improved? Are there unresolved issues that need to be addressed? Taking the time to evaluate the state of your relationship can lead to meaningful insights and positive changes. Remember that every relationship is unique, and what works for one couple may not work for another. However, the principles of trust and communication are universal, serving as guiding lights for all partnerships. In addition to trust and communication, Andrew's experience highlights the importance of personal growth within a relationship. After the painful revelation of Karen's betrayal, Andrew embarked on a journey of self-discovery and renewal. He learned to embrace change, seek out new opportunities, and redefine his identity outside of his marriage. This transformation not only empowered him, but also allowed him to become a more engaged and present father to his daughters. Personal growth is an ongoing process, and it is vital for individuals to prioritize their own well-being, even within the context of a partnership. As we conclude Andrew's story, we invite viewers to reflect on their own lives and relationships. Consider the lessons learned from Andrew's journey and how they might apply to your own experiences. Whether you are in a committed relationship, navigating the challenges of marriage, or seeking to understand the dynamics of love and trust, there is always room for growth and improvement. If you found value in Andrew's story and the insights shared, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more content that explores the intricacies of relationships, personal growth, and emotional well-being. By subscribing, you will gain access to a wealth of resources designed to help you navigate your own journey with confidence and clarity. Additionally, if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and share it with others who may benefit from these discussions. Your support helps us reach a wider audience and fosters a community where individuals can come together to learn, grow, and share their experiences. In summary, Andrew Baker's journey serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of trust and communication in marriage. By prioritizing these elements, addressing challenges head-on, and embracing personal growth, couples can cultivate deeper connections and navigate the complexities of love with resilience. Let us all take these lessons to heart as we strive to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships in our own lives. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to sharing more insights with you in the future.